Good evening. Tonight I will narrate 2 glitch in the Matrix experiences for you. So sit back and relax. Author name: And Hearts. Title: I knew a customer's name and drink order, but I had never met him before. I work in a really busy cafe as a barista, and I take a lot of pride in getting to know my customers' names and drink orders. It's worth noting here that at my place of employment, we use a screen ordering system that requires you to type in a guest's name to call out when their ticket is ready. Anyway, today while I was on shift, I was working the register and an older gentleman came in. I could have sworn he was someone whom I had served over the weekend, so I made it a point to let him know I remembered him. Obviously, I went through all the pleasantries, and then I asked him if he wanted his cappuccino for here. He looked a bit weirded out that I knew his drink order, but he confirmed that it was what he wanted. Then I told him his total, and switched to the screen where you type in the customer's name. I asked, "Your name is David, right?" To which he replied, "Yes." At this point, he almost looked alarmed, so I said, "You were in here a couple of times this weekend, weren't you?" in an attempt to defuse the awkward situation. His response: "No, I don't even live in this city. I flew in late last night, and it's my first time in this city, and this cafe." I thought he was yanking my chain, so I checked the transaction history. For some reason, it auto-captures a name on the debit/credit card, and his name was, in fact, David. Our system also logs visits associated with said card or customer, and he had no previous visits to my store. For a second, I had wondered if maybe I knew him from another cafe I've worked at in the past, but he told me he was here from the other side of the country, which I've never been to, so I wouldn't know him from there either. If it was just a name or a drink order, I would have chalked it up to coincidence, but I feel like the chances of getting both right is so minuscule. I still can't wrap my head around how this happened, and honestly, I'm probably more freaked out about it than he was. Author name: Camags. Story title: My Parents' Secret Glitch? Not sure if this counts as a glitch, but it's something that I've thought about for a long time, and still can't explain. It happened to my parents, but they still haven't told anyone other than me and my brother, because they're worried people will think they're crazy or lying. Anyways, here it goes. When my parents were dating, they lived alone in separate apartments. One night, my mom was having a nightmare. She often has very vivid, story-like dreams, where she was being chased by a group of men. She recalls running into a large room and hiding behind a wall or something. However, she knew the men were going to find her eventually, so she thought the only way she could get help was to scream my dad's name, and hopefully he would find her before they did. So she yelled it out as loud as she could, and then shortly woke up. After waking up, she was pretty freaked out and thought about calling my dad, but she looked at the time and realized he probably wouldn't want to be woken up at 3 a.m. and decided to just go back to sleep. Now this is where it gets weird. Fast forward to the following morning. My dad had a ritual of calling my mom every morning when she got to work. Usually it was just to make sure she got there safely and tell her to have a good day and whatnot. But this time, my mom noticed that my dad seemed a little weird on the phone. He kept asking her if she was okay, and it seemed as if there was something he wanted to say but didn't know how. Eventually, he admitted that the night before, he woke up abruptly because he very clearly heard someone yelling his name. He said it sounded like a woman, and he thought it came from inside his room, which is why it woke him up. He said that he remembered looking at the time, around 3 a.m., and had this overwhelming feeling to call my mom and make sure she was okay, but decided not to. Obviously, my mom was shocked and didn't believe him at first. She told my dad about her dream, and both of them were pretty creeped out. They quickly hung up the phone, and didn't talk about it for years afterwards. That sounds like I don't even know what to say, a connection through the universe? I don't know why I'm thinking about quantum entanglement, but it kind of sounds like that. They're interconnected in their thoughts and emotions. That is a strong pairing indeed. It could just be a coincidence, but that would be a hell of a coincidence. Some people are just so attuned to each other that, even if it's not some mystical connection, their thoughts and patterns in their subconscious minds, they align perfectly to produce something like this.